So good morning, everybody. Hope you guys missed me as much as I missed you last week. It was a rough bye week for me. Missed all these questions. What's that?
You started with a straight face. You get credit.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
New England, all three phases they seem to play is mistake-free as possible, almost perfect. But what do you see with that special teams unit?
It's not only mistake-free. They also make a lot of plays. They don't hurt themselves, but they also put you in positions where, like with their punt rush, for example, they put you in positions to be where you're very uncomfortable. They use personnel that put a lot of stress on your punt team and how we need to protect. And of course, we had the one block a couple weeks ago that is unacceptable. That should never happen to us. Not the way we should protect. So that's going to be the big emphasis this week is punt protection. Understanding that our punt return game we have to get that thing going against a good, fine, young rookie punter who puts a lot of stress on your returner because he doesn't give you a lot of balls to return because he's such a good directional punter. Their field goal kicker, Mike's been in the league a long time. He has had a phenomenal career. He's straightened himself out here the last couple of weeks. He's getting used to the snapping, the holding, and their snapper. Although he's a Naval Academy grad, we have to get after him this weekend. He's a good young snapper. He's a good kid. I'm sure the only thing I'll say to him is beat Army when I see him. That's about the only conversation I'll have with him, Joe. But you're right. They don't make mistakes. They don't get penalized. They play hard in every phase. They're well coached and they understand situational football. So we have our work cut out for us as normal.
Coach, the Seattle player that blocked the punt, they saw something and felt like they were going to get one. Did you kind of identify what the issue was, and had it been an ongoing issue?
Yeah, they do a nice job with that scheme. They ran similar schemes in the past. We worked on them all week, to be honest with you. We didn't execute. They executed, we didn't execute. Could I have done a better job? Yes. And the way I look at it, I'm going to look in the mirror and say I'm responsible for that. But our guys got to do a better job of protecting in that situation. I mean, we literally ran that, not the exact same rush, but something very similar to it that they run in the past. And they did a good job. And, it's one of those things that in our protection scheme, some of the things that we use, that's a rush that's good against us. But if we execute it and use our techniques and fundamentals like we've been taught, then we're going to block that up. And we've blocked it up before against different teams, and that should never happen. But, the way I look at it, I'll be honest with you, coming out of that game, obviously very disappointed that we lost the Seattle game, a game that we could have won. We started the game and gave our offensive field position at the 23. At the end of the game, when we're down by 5, we rushed the punt. He shanks one off the side of his foot. We give the offensive ball at the 24. We end up getting a 2-point conversion out of that. So, and our defense did a great job after the block punt. We only gave up 3. So, did we win the field position battle overall? Yes, but you should never give up a block punt. We should never give up a block punt, and that can't happen again. So that's been our big emphasis the last 2 weeks. We've worked a lot on it. The 2 practices we had a week ago, and of course yesterday, and we'll work on it again tomorrow on punt.
Patriots go and make the move like they did this week, adding another veteran special teamer that's considered a quality guy.
Yep.
What does he add to their units when you pair him with a guy like Slater?
Well, we've obviously already played against him when he was in Baltimore, and he'll play the 2 on the kickoff. I would imagine he'll be a gunner on punt. He'll come off the edge on field goal block. All things that we're going to prepare for that he's really good at. They could put him inside on kickoff as well, like a 4 or a 5 because of his speed. They do a good job of accumulating those good players, and those guys play hard. Nate Ebner's another one that not many people mentioned, but because he's missed a couple games with a foot injury, but he's back. He's played well the last 2 weeks. They got good specialists, good teamers, and the good thing is it's a challenge, and I love a challenge, and I'm really excited about going up to play the world champions at their place, and we're only going up there for one reason, that's to win the ball game. And we have to do our part to help our football team, both offensively and defensively, put our guys in position to execute and to be in good scoring position for our offense, and pin them deep whenever we can. And they got a great offense. We know that. Greatest quarterback I've ever seen. And we got to make sure they go the long haul. We can't give them any freebies. We can't give them the ball at the 40-yard line because he turns it into a touchdown like that. We got to pin him deep at every opportunity, and that's going to be our goal.
What's your just review of what Hilliard was able to find against the Seahawks?
He found the seam. That's one of the bigger seams you're ever going to see. That was a well-blocked play. We took advantage of Seattle's speed and pushed him by the play like we knew we could. If he doesn't stumble there, I think he scores because the backside safety ended up getting him. The kicker did a good job of slowing him down a little bit, but he kind of stumbled on himself on a piece of grass, he said there. But he did a great job setting the return and helped our blockers out a lot. And then he hit that seam inside that was perfectly blocked by our guys, and it was a big play. Got the whole crowd involved to start off and gave our team momentum right off the bat, which we have not had that yet this year, and that's what we got to keep doing going forward.
When you say keep doing, is there? You put a lot of emphasis on correcting the punt protection, but you put a lot of emphasis on building off that return.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And like I tell our guys every week, we need to build on the things we do well. We need to correct the mistakes so they don't happen again. And when you're doing that, when you're correcting these mistakes and these guys understand what they're being asked to do, they should get better on even the things they're doing well. I mean, everything is kind of built on doing the fundamentals and techniques and experience, and we've got a bunch of young guys. You mentioned the Patriots, they got a lot of veteran guys, and across the board they got veteran guys playing on special teams. We have a lot of young guys, and that, for me, that's exciting because it's so important to them, and it's so important for them in their minds to get better and to not only continue to earn that roster spot but help our football team win on special teams.
Do you feel like Jamie has the right demeanor to really kind of just put that blocked punt behind him and not be looking for anything?
I do, because it wasn't his fault. He actually got it off in 195, which is excellent get off. It was totally on the protection and the way they executed it. But yeah, he's got a pretty short memory when it comes to that stuff. It's important to him, but he's got the right demeanor across the board as a holder, as a punter, and as a teammate, and he's done a nice job in that regard.
With Bill Belichick, have you guys ever talked about his Navy connection and what's his dad coaching?
I mentioned it to him a long time ago. He probably doesn't remember. His father, Steve, was at the Naval Academy when I was there as a midshipman, and then when I went back for my shore duty, and I was kind of working my way being a graduate assistant, he was still there, and he was a great mentor to me. His friendship meant a lot to me. He really understood the game. We used to talk complimentary football. We used to just talk about little things and about players and how to motivate players, and he was quite the motivator. I remember when I was a midshipman, we would do the physical readiness test, and back then it was pull-ups and sit-ups and I think a mile or mile and a half run, which is the one that killed me. But I remember doing pull-ups and he's counting them, and I think I'm cranking them out, and I look down, he goes, I do like 4. He goes, that's 1. And I'm looking down, I'm like, Coach, I did 4. He goes, you didn't go all the way down or all the way up or whatever it was. So, he's a tough, hard-nosed guy, and he was a great military and Navy veteran, and served in World War II, and he was just he's a good man, and his friendship meant a lot to me.
Is there something special? I mean, I know every game's important, but the fact that you're going against a coach that is probably considered by many the greatest ever, does that add something to your week as a coach?
Well, I mean, when you look at the tape and you know how well they're coached and how well their special teams coordinator coaches their guys, and the emphasis that they put on it, I know that Freddie's done a great job with that, is emphasizing special teams here as well, and it's given me the opportunity and the time to get our guys prepared. So it's a challenge because of how, like you mentioned before, they don't make mistakes. It's a challenge because you have to go out there and take the fight to them. You got to go out and make plays against them. You can't worry about something bad happening. You can't worry about a penalty. You can't worry about them rushing the punt. They're going to rush the punt. They're going to play hard. We're not going to get a lot of calls because penalties on them because they don't get penalized because they play with great technique and great fundamentals. So that's going to be our challenge, and it's not really. It's Coach Belichick obviously is in charge of that whole thing, but his special teams coaches do a great job. His special teams, the veteran special teams players do a great job, and that's where that challenge is this week.